gonna be a straight quiz to fight. Telling me that never can wait. Yeah, I'm gonna get it right this time. Life is what we find. The second time around. Hey everybody, Jesus Christ, the Western Channel, Sonichu Prime here once again. And today we are continuing with our Radiant Chaos Crystal Control with beginning Act 7. So we are getting down to it. Hope y'all have been really enjoying this journey so far. Yes. Okay? Yes. Okay. Chaos Control Act 7. Fulfilling Insights and Enlightenments. Yes, anyway. Let me see. Oh. At the exact moment and instant I finished writing this sentence, Zapbud flowers and third eye zinnias in respective commonalities for every 100 Zapbud flowers, let there be one third eye zinnia, not only bloomed throughout Quickville, Virginia 2006 and into 2022, these flowers bloom throughout the fields of all of the state of Virginia in the United States of America on both the C197 and the 1218 halves of our 1C211987 Earth right here. By my power and command, let the prophecy be completed and manifested. By Neptune, gained the mystery Basilicom, 2:30 a.m., February 28, 2006. Because they gotta get to the next destination. It's a few hours ahead of time from that time zone. Chris and this group had told Neptune, Gear, Eastwar, IF, and Kappa their intentions for leaving by 3 a.m. the previous afternoon. Kappa decided to stay up to fix the breakfast at 1:30 a.m. Chris, Christine, SNT, and Dupy were very thankful for that. After breakfast with their personal property, including their Chaos Gems, the Chaos Crystal Balls, and the Chaos Emerald, respectively, they bid farewell to Kappa and thanked her for the kindness and hospitality. Chris and Kristalina will receive a copied updated data from Scarlett's disk and cartridge in an email with a compressed folder later. Chris, focusing on the destination of Jerusalem, Israel, holding up the red Chaos Crystal Ball and the group gathered around him, Chris called firmly, "Chaos Control!" The group teleports there. I almost said troop for some reason. And then Kappa cleans the dishes before going to bed herself. Zapbud flowers bloom around Planet Neptune's Basilicom. Jerusalem, Israel, 8 o'clock a.m., Tuesday, February 28, 2006. Not far from the location where the crucifix that Jesus Christ died on long ago stood is a sacred holy artifact and historian museum owned and cared for by a loving family and the spiritual and kind Helen Roseshoe. On this morning, Helen had just finished her breakfast with her guest, Lady Majik Sonichu. Majik had given Helen confirmation of the arrival of Chris Chad Sonichu and his group for the last Chaos Crystal Ball needed to save the world from the worst side effects of the Dimension Merge at present. Excuse me, I'm going to have some water for this. I'm not forgetting my place. I feel the dry air right now, I'd say. Okay. Okay. Above a lot of Israel and neighboring countries, a lot of the sky had a pretty good accumulation of dimensional holes and tears. And Eggman would make an attack on the country of Israel until when he had the clear color, transparent, clear, as well as the clear Chaos Emerald. I guess you could alternatively call it by, but it's clear. It's transparent, like a diamond, but it's clear, all right? But he had the clear Chaos Crystal Ball in his hands. Here you go. Here's the description. For a reference to add onto her bio, written on November 18th, 2022, Helen Roseshoe is a special waterbender, a fairy psychic type, fairy. There you go. With medium blue fur, yellow cheeks and stripes, the length of her tail is periwinkle. Her eyes are yellow, and she does not typically wear shoes by her choice. She wears a mid-thigh length white dress with a brown belt with a gold ring for the buckle. She ties her very long quills with a lavender scrunchie at the base, and about 10 excuse me, and about 10 hair ties to make a set of bubbly round globes around the length. And she wears a necklace with the Holy Cross on it. She is also a head of Israel's division of the Psychic Squadron. Her demeanor is typically humble, kind, and compassionate. She detests those that do evil upon others. She will use her holy ferocity to defend and her light powers to heal. She evolved in 1998 at level 30. In the foyer, Christian, Crystalina, Doopie, Christine, and SNT teleport in with a flash. Helen and Bashik were in the next room. Helen not only sensed their incoming, but she glanced into the foyer right before they arrived. The group stepped away from Chris as they see their entering host. Welcome all to our lovely home at Holy Relic Museum. I am Helen. She tells them. I forgot to put up here. Crystalina introduces the group. Hi, Helen. I'm Crystalina. This is Dupy, Christine, SNT, and this is Christian Chandler Sonichu of Quickville, Helen finishes. I have been expecting you, and I believe you know Majik. Majik says, Greetings, Chris, Crystalina, and Christine. I am delighted to meet you, SNT and Dupy. Chris had tucked away the red chaos crystal ball right after arriving. Chris extends a courteous bow to Helen. Ellen Rosechew, it is a pleasure. And as you may know, we are all here to locate and collect the last chaos crystal ball in order to restore some order amidst the dimension merge's completion. Helen nods. It is as foretold that in part, our Lord reincarnated Jesus Christ shed Sachi Prime will undivide the recombined segregated Earth halves after the vision in 1389 AD. By combining past and future, by combining past and future to make the present from the beginning and end points of time. Dupy repeats that. Combining past and future. She and SNT remember from their dreams the voice say, Futrast. Futrast! Futrast, SNT mutters, the gasps and piecing it together. Futrast means present day! Dupy gasps at Christine. Chris and Christina nod. Then Chris gets a sudden vision featuring Eggman. In the instant of Chris and this group's arrival in Jerusalem, in central Israel, Eggman lands his base and sends out his grounder and air bots to hunt for the Chaos Crystal Ball. Eggman readies his choice mech to integrate his hover egg with. Chris and Crystalina's earlier vision of the clear Chaos Crystal Ball was missed, as they saw the image of the cliff of the crucifix and Jesus' tomb in the background, but they also saw that in that image pieces of Noah's Ark, Moses' staff and sword, and a bassinet within the stretch of land in between the cliff and the tomb. And in the day sky, clear and bright, was the Star of David. The vision Chris just saw of a battle with Eggman revealed the inn in Bethlehem. That was the eureka moment for Chris. Everyone, we must hurry to get the Chaos Crystal Ball immediately. Chris and Crystalina transformed into their Sonichu and Roshi forms. Chris continues, likely Eggman will have sent both land and air forces. We'll have to split up. SNT, Crystalina, and I will take to the skies. Helen, Christy, Dupy, and Mashik take to the land. Our destination? The Inn and Major of Bethlehem. Bethlehem? SNT and Dupy ask. That's where Jesus was born, Dupy says. I mean, as if you didn't already know that. A holy sight, Christine nods. Well, we can't let Grandman destroy it anyway, S&T says. The seven of them exit the house. Chris, Christian, and S&T fly and levitate. The others follow in a dash off to Bethlehem. And there's like two zones here. Holy Sands, plural. Holy Sands zone and Holy Skies zone. Okay, so that's pretty much the division there. Okay. Got me. Yeah, okay, just Quickville, Virginia, 5:30 a.m., Tuesday, February 28, 2006. Also to note, Israel is 7 hours ahead from Virginia in the respective time zones around the Earth. Chris and his group arrived in Jerusalem at 8 o'clock a.m. there. In that moment, it was 1 o'clock a.m. in Quickville and all of the Eastern time zone. So when you do the math, Giovanni's attacks on Quickville started after Chris and his team's recovery of the clear chaos crystal ball. Excuse me. For this, though, the army base of Quickville rolled out their tanks, missile carriers, and soldiers into positions just at the border of Quickville city limits to the north, northwest, west, and even south, fully set up by 0500 hours. Yes, I can do army time too. 1300, 1 o'clock, 1700, 5 o'clock. Just a couple of examples. Anyway, the Autobot teams were dispersed evenly with Alpha Trial himself utilizing his jet and lion forms. Stands with Chris Chat Prime, Sonichu, and the Quickville Autobots. Yeah, all about Chris Chat Prime. If you remember from, it's described and shown in those review videos on the movie and everything, okay? Alright. Utilizing his jet and line force, stands with Chris Chat Prime, Sonichu, and the Quickville Autobots. The main Quickville team with Alpha Trial took to the north of the city. The Protectobots had the west. The Aerobots were at the northwest. Skylings had a central post in the skies, and Rodimus Prime's teams took the south. The second squadron members took respective, equally dispersed positions within and around the city. The Alcazars with the Gardevoirs as backup for any sudden dark-type sneak attacks, all set up the city limits wide barrier and light screen. The sky-positioned second squadron Sanchos and Roshis were poised to divert any and all missiles that were aimed at the city into the northern Atlantic Ocean, well south of game industry. The other second squadron members acted as additional support and backup in defense of our city's heroes. The 3 respawn generators were all running, tested, and fully operational in their respective locations within Quickville. Also, the friendly fire disable I mentioned earlier, that applies only to everyone on Quickville's defense and counters, the heroes. The friendly fire is still active on all the invading foes. Savannah Roshu's recent enlightenments had inspired her to help in defending Quickville, so she transformed into a generic female Sonichu with body armor on and took a position on the Westland team. So it's just like, she's really blending in there. Just a basic female yellow Sonichu at this point with armor on. Anyway. Of the think tanks, since some of them were practiced warriors, also took their positions with the others. Of course, KP, Silver Quill, and Lightning Bliss had the sky defense. Come to us, rocket colors! Lightning comments. Starlight wants to play too. Well, I'm used to being fricasseed, but with my bad boy, I'm still down. I will still down some of Giovanni's air raid. Silver says. KP has a backpack full of detonatable bombs and an array of bonk energy drinks. The same with Rachel on land. Dr. Wolf takes his medic role with Cosmic Christine Keyframe as engineer. Don't worry, Golden Fox, we have snipers among the second squadron to defend her. AY dons his sword and bottles of non-alcoholic Jack Apple Daniels. Ishtar motivates me well mentally, he says. Christar, second warrior alpha, works with the second squadron. Tara Strong, yes, the Tara Strong, voice of Twilight Sparkle and Raven from Teen Titans. She channels her Azeroth Metreon Zinthos and Alicor powers to be an overpowered superhero for the city. Courtney as Sailor Nebula Yonstar takes a place with the North team alongside rookie Nicole Witsaki remains at Tails' workshop. A work of the Ultimate Portal while Tails and Tails go with Sonica, Psych, and AB take with the North defenses. Sally with Donnie Sanchu were positioned on the West team, and you'll definitely hear a little bit more about Donnie Sanchu in a little bit. Anyway, Sally leads that team. with Grand Elder Majichan as supportive co-leader. Bubbles Roastu was on that team as well. Donnie had a talk with her in introductions. I'll get that to that a little bit. Sandy, Simonas, and Sapina were also on the West team. Jamsta and Elisa helped on the South team. Punchy, Sonichu, and Rawson, as well as Angelica and Wild, were on the West. Rainbow Dash was at the North to do the same as Rachel in bombing Team Rocket vehicles. No bonk required for Rainbow. Too fast. Kim and Ron, like with the other humans on defense, were stationed to disarm and fall the land defense troops with their weapons. The Sonichus and Roshis on land are set to take out Team Rocket's Pokemon into submission. And Sonichu Prime and Roshu Prime were the leaders, with Magic Sonichu Prime as co-leader of the North team. Sonichu, Rosie, Punchy, and Sonic had their respective charged Chaos Crystal Balls on hand for just in case, and the various active volunteering citizens took arms at each post. At the Team Rocket's Virginia base, Giovanni, Natsurk, and the team leaders called in for support from the other nearby states, with additional shadow Pokemon and weaponry, jets, mechs, choppers, and so on. Suffice to say, Giovanni's defeat from Puchai Sanchu really pissed him off. After receiving the Breakout cartridge, it was too late to simply run out to purchase and upgrade a Commodore 64 computer, or rather a Commodore 64 Ultimate from the closest store. So Gibby went ahead and ordered one full kit online at Best Buy's website, or rather at Commodore64.org. Official Commodore. You know what? I think the link's in the description down below. Anyway. Yeah. So Gibby went ahead and ordered one full kit online at Best Buy's website for in-store pickup on February 28, 2006. But stocks of the console were low or out at the really closest stores. Maybe that's another preliminary note right there for how quickly those C64 Ultimates were going. So the computer had to be picked up at a Best Buy store in Lynchburg, Virginia. I literally forewrote that. And I picked up an accessory from there recently that will give me... Oh, I should have bought an accessory, yeah. I bought not only the capture card recently, but I also bought a portable HDMI monitor that's going to be used with the C64 Ultimate. So, premonition! I didn't even remember this page the moment that happened recently. From today! Anyway, Natsurk got his overpowered all-legendary Pokemon team out. Zapdos, Raikou, Landorus, Registeel, Entei, and Yveltal. Blake was seriously not enthused with having to participate in this onslaught, but Giovanni had given Blake a specific instruction. Focus on Sonichu Prime, Blake Sonichu. Do everything you have to either distract or see to his demise. Next to Chris and Magic-chan, Sonichu himself is the strongest. Next to Chris and Magic-chan, Sonichu himself is the strongest among all of them in Quickville. You have had continuous training and hyper training over these years. Now is the time for you to prove yourself, my prized investment. Blake winces at him being referred to as an investment. Seriously, I mean, just he feels like an object in that moment. Sarah Roshu's words and Bubbles Roshu's kindness, love, and her song echoed in Blake's mind, and how he had held Chris in Montana. His emotions grown as he looks once again at his old grunt uniform and cap that he had actually received after being withdrawn from that too. Blake felt from between righteousness and duty. Blake felt torn between righteousness and duty. He asked himself, what is my duty? What is my duty? Yes. Character development. You like that? Okay. Back to Jerusalem, Israel. 8:10 a.m. February 28, 2006, Tuesday. Holy Skies Zone, Act 1. Preface. At one point during her second adventure on the late universe M641's Earth, a Gardevoir in New York had taught S&T pretty much the entire move pool of a Gardevoir within nanoseconds in telepathy. The entire move pool that a Gardevoir can learn from. The natural move sets, the TMs, the HMs, every single move. S&T knows them. With S&T's special aura, she was able to utilize psychic power and fairy type attacks anyway. So, double boost with that part. So she ended up mastering those moves for herself even after returning to C197 half for 1C211987 Earth that she originated from. And those abilities help S&T to infinitely fly with her tails as well as self-levitation. So she can also use the attack Thunderbolt. So yeah, she definitely knows Thunderbolt. And so Gardevoir can actually learn that. Only to comment aside, as far as S&T goes with her development, I feel she is a better Mary Sue than even Mary Sue herself. Sorry, Maddie. I'm sorry, Mary. Hey! Mary Sue shouts to me from Matt Munchkin, Scotland, huh? I'm the best at everything! Even you know that, Christian! Well, Mary, I really do appreciate you, but I feel like sometimes the pride in you rises to arrogance sometimes. Just not feeling... Arrogant? I'm not arrogant! How dare you! Think about it, though. I mean, your good nature does stand out a lot, but it is in those moments of slipping up that can deter others. I still like you very well, Mary Sue. Well, okay. Ha! Mad Munchkin and Amy Method, they both laugh. Course they got you good, Maddie, Maddie tells Mary Sue. Maddie grunts in mild anger. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna put a link to Mad Munchkin's channel at the end of this video. Anyway, Christian Sonichu, Crystalline Rochu, and S&T take off from Hella Rochu's house and fly to the skies to Bethlehem. They encounter a fleet of Eggmans, flying robots, and jets. Their offenses were limited to focused thunderbolt attacks that constantly strike and fell the flying bots. Compare this with the likes of Star Fox's gameplay and perspective if you want to visualize that for yourself. Do a barrel roll! Do a barrel roll! With their aerial acrobatics, the trio surpass the Andros level difficult long flight act. Then they meet the swooping in boss, an oversized, upgraded Scratch that can transform between chicken-legged robot to a blue jet. Stag-like sounds. Incoming Venom. Star Fox video game reference. Incoming Venom. Ha 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 ha. Yes, I played Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. I had the cartridge. And the console, of course. Anyway. That's the last Star Fox reference, I do promise. Tricky to maneuver. Okay. Scratch Jet mode. Shot bullets and missiles at our heroes. They dodged the bullets and shot down the missiles. Their chance came with the 1/10 blue tipped missiles that took a dazzling gleam special to turn it around and hit Scratch Jet, making it prone for a barrage of thunderbolts. Scratch Jet pulls off a loop-de-loop and transforms to robot mode, now with a Seeker Decepticon vibe. Seeker type. Maybe a Conehead? Maybe? Anyway. I don't know, or just traditional, whichever. He shoots off steel feathers from his arms that have a wider range that could only be dodged vertically if it was horizontal or vice versa, or even diagonal. Scratch Jet also fired a large, straightforward firing energy beam from its chest like a hyper beam that can be dodged. But after firing, he's prone to more Thunderbolt attacks. The Scratch Jet changed modes between Thunderbolt hits, and after his second robot mode attack, the finishing dazzled hyper beam for the heroes into its exposed chest made this thing finally explode. Ba-boom! And another one gone, and another one gone, and another one that adds a bot spice to dust. Wait, I'm not sorry. And another one gone, another one gone, another one Eggman bots like to dust. S&T sings. Crystalina says, "Yep, but we need to hurry." That path was blue and clear. That path was blue and cleared, Chris says. But anything could still happen. They fly forward and onward. A spinning sign appears on a hovering armored turtle bot, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and stops spinning to reveal Chris Chan Sonichu's portrait. End of Holy Sky Zone Act 1. Rank guess. Soren. Soren the Blue Skies. Okay. Back in Quickville, Virginia, 5:40 a.m. Sally meets Angelica, Bubbles, Punching, Wild, Sancha, Rawson, and everyone else of the leader ranks and acknowledges the rest kindly at the West City limits. Everyone was humbled and honored to have her lead as well today. Donnie Sanchu sees his mom, Bubbles, lighting up as she tells Sally about her efforts, not only in battle but for the homeless and the environment as well. And Bubbles was lit as Sally told of her work and efforts leading to the freedom fires and restoring Mobitropolis. Donnie could see the same loving, devoted, and strong Rose Jew of 2022 in her own past self. Donnie shed a couple of happy tears with a smile. And here you go. As Bubble walked for a cup of hot cocoa for the self-serve table, Donnie approached her. Hi, Bubbles. Hello, Bubbles replies, looking at him for a short second. Then wide-eyed takes a second look over and at him, recognizing his fur colors and wave patterns and the aura, as well as his eyes, nearly resembling her own to a T. Wow, she says. You and I have the same fur color and wave patterns. And something in your eyes and the aura. She works from her intuition, piecing them together. It's like we're related. Donnie feels a bit of surprise in how well she could read him. Then he smiles as he recalls how that ability was how she ended up meeting Blake Sonichu, his dad. Well, he responds, I'm Donatello, but everyone calls me Donnie. I'm from the year 2022 like some of the folks around here. Donatello like the artist. Or Donnie Darko, take your pick. Oh, I've seen that movie. Very meta. Yep. Anyway, oh wow. This is kind of intense. You're my mother. What? Bubbles is aghast with her mouth wide open. What? Yep, hard to believe, but it's true. I recognize it from when you, in the future, tell me about this battle and how great a leader Princess Sally is. Bubbles ponders a moment. She asks herself, what secret would I share with my children? She got it. Oh wait. What? She was asking herself. Yeah. All right. Anyway. One time, Aquaman Bubbles starts. Donica, please. Making out with Princess Diana, aka Wonder Woman. That had Superman in a fright when he found out about years later. Bubbles is wide-eyed when she had heard the same wording she would use from her future son. Oh, my gosh. Son? She responds, Hi, Mom. Bubbles gasps and then hugs him tight with emotion. He hugs her back firmly. Bubbles backs up. Wow. Who's the father? Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Bubbles says, I'm not supposed to know yet. Or do I? Either clearly or inky intuitively. Bubbles says as she puzzles. Then she catches herself, takes a deep breath, and cools down. She takes another look at Donnie. She thinks, orange eyes, like. She nods and doesn't say anything else about. Donnie comments, you're the same now as you will be after I'm born. Bubbles smiles with a few tears of joy. Oh, I'm going to show this off. This is like a crab crash strip that I often remember. Just it's so funny, obviously. Get that in center. If you feel like you can read that, you can read that. But just I'm often remembering mine. $70 for gift wrapping! Yeah, that's funny. Anyway. Back to Jerusalem, 8:10 a.m. Holy Sand... Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, we're shifting from skies to sand. Holy Sand Zone Act 1. Heather Rochew takes the lead of her group on land in similar trail as Chris, Kristen, and SNT. Come, ladies, Helen. Come, ladies, Helen tells Christine, Dupy, and Majik as she grabs and holsters her water-filled leather bag with strap sling. I know the most direct path to Bethlehem, and that very manger. She also holsters her compass and alerts the Psychic Squadron, and they're off with Bashik holding the rear of the team. The four then run and traverse the sands to Bethlehem, avoiding quicksand pits, jumping platforms, and gaps. They encounter many land-roving robots, including classic grounders, low-flying robot birds, sandy serpent bots, and the scorpion digger bots, and so on. They have a variety of attacks between psychic power, telekinesis, Dupy slashing sword, heel stomps, and suddenly strong from her development and motivation, karate chops and punches. Thunderbolts, dazzling gleams, and Helen's water-bending specialty, turning her stored water into sharp darts and pounding waves, even utilizing a bit to trap the bots in mud. They keep going and traversing with a bit of sweat at times, running on sand dune walls, running up cliffs, and what else? Loop-de-loops that dissolve right behind them. Sonic 3 and Knuckles reference the Sandopolis Zone, I think it was called. Anyway, okay, well, here you go. Their boss was a hovering tank that transformed into an upgraded, oversized grounder. Grounder T was, "No!" Dupy shouts. "No, Dupy?" "Yeah, Christ-Chen. Where's the creativity? You think about combined upgrade Scratch, Grounder, and Cluck, and upgrade Coconuts and another Scratch? No, you know what? I know where the Achilles heel is on that thing." Oh boy, she's really breaking the fourth wall and commenting against me here. I'm certain like a lot of you people have been doing for a really fuck long time! Yes, I'm very self-aware, so shut up! Shut up! And I get that little rant of emotion out of the way. Let y'all have your little lulls at me and the gooberness and everything now. Okay. Anyway. Okay, Dupy runs the grounder ton. Dupy runs the grounder Dupy runs the grounder T on the ground and slashes its treads apart. Both of them. Then she runs back to the astonished group with a smirk. Yeah, I bet you're smiling right now, Danielle, aren't you? You'll be watching this video and be like listening to yourself talk right here. Helen can see what Dupy was thinking as the grounder T rolls forward in tank mode, losing its treads and finding immobility in the sand. Helen uses her wire to make the dirt under grounded T into mud and traps it. The grounded T is unable to even hover now. May I continue writing about this boss fight, Danielle? May I, please? Go right ahead, Goddess Christ-Chan Prime, she tells me. Thank you. Okay. The stuck grounder T rotate its cannon and fire multiple bombs that the group had to dodge, but hits on its cannon's shaft from all possible attacks ruptures the cannon's disable. Wait a minute, let me read that one more time. But hits on its cannon's shaft from all possible attacks ruptures the cannon disable. That's a sentence. Grounder T transforms into its now treadless robot mode and uses its drills to move about like a sandworm that is short. That's not fair, Dupy shouts. The group had to dodge as the massive drill arms thrust up quick and fall quick like whack-a-mole. Even the grounder T's knows a hit could be hardly made without tripping it again, with which Helen bended her water to catch the body, taking the arm's location under consideration and forcing it to raise its head out of the ground so then it can be bombed under the nose drill bit. The grounder T's haymaker was this. It raised all three of its larger drill bits up, splayed them out into 4 sharp horizontal segments, then spun them all like windmill blades, slightly moving at least the hands around and shooting falling drill bits from the center that everyone had to dodge as they attempted to attack the palms of the robot hands by... Is that hard enough for y'all now? Is that hard enough for you now, Danielle? Is that hard enough for you now? You made it more difficult for yourselves by just taking the treads out. It could have been easier if you had not done that. And maybe you should consider that. Here's the creativity of this that even Eggman knew how to add. Ha 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 ha. Helen had to wire Ben to put water on each palm that matched that Majik and Christine targeted with thunder attacks, halting the spinning blades. Then Dupy jams shit and moves. Then Dupy jams her sword. It looks like it's written as one word. Jams her sword. Then Dupy jams her sword into each palm of the three until when the grounder teeth fell and shut down. You four might want to run away now. It's self-destruct sequence started. I'm telling them in this moment. Majik teleported Dupy far away with Helen and Christine running to them in a dash. The grounder T explodes, ba-boom, and sand starts flying up, then down in a sandy rain. A spinning sign stops to reveal Danielle Dupy Do-Over's portrait. In a shock, Christine rose to ask Dupy's, "How could you be so reckless and arrogant?" "Arrogant," Dupy responds. "I was just getting the job done." "Give us a ring, goddess." She's telling me all this. I grow and really roll my eyes in response. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. End of Holy Sands Zone. Act 1. Rank S. Shifting Sands. Helen tells Dupy, "You don't want to anger God herself, Danielle." "Oh, why? What is she gonna do? Bury me?" Dupy responds, "Well, I actually foresaw this for Act 2, and now I see why. Right. Time to teach you a lesson, Dupy." Time to teach you a lesson, Danielle. Oh boy, godly, divine will, and everything. You just gotta love it. A sudden sandstorm blows in on him. Dupy and the group groans. "Ah, I had to ask," Dupy now says in her regret. Majik pulls out 4 pairs of safety goggles and gives one to each of them and herself. They put them on, thankful for not having to be blinded by the grains. Meanwhile, above the skies, let's check the time here, sand tornadoes pop up and adds that difficulty for that Act 2 as well. Sheesh, Noeen. Helen advises Dupy with Christine and Majik nodding in agreement. "Do not anger God," Christ chant Prime again, "please. And you have time to repent and redeem yourself." Dupy fumes for a moment. Christine shouts, "We have to hurry! Everyone, keep together!" Christine uses flash and becomes a bright guiding light. I'll give a shielding with barrier," Majik says as she emits a barrier around the 4 of them. Then they continue by Helen's guidance from compass and intuition. And Christine pulls out her Chaos Emerald as a guide to the Chaos Crystal Ball as well. Was that good enough? Was that good enough? Yeah. Anyway. I would dare OpusCon to top that, but he dead. He dead. Anyway. Quickville, Virginia, 5:45 a.m. At the North City limits, with everyone stationed there raring to counter T-Rocket's onslaught. They were getting their details told and retold to them by the Psychic Squadron members. Sonichu, Rosie, Sonica, Sonic, and the leaders and higher-ups were discussing the contingency details. The star posts in the area were now getting overspun. Yeah, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog game, those star posts. There you go. Okay. Roberta, Sonichu, and Sarah Rocha were chilling and talking over hot decaf coffee and snacks by the table. I mean, they got all the energy. You really think they needed more caffeine? Blah, blah. Sarah tells Roberta, "This is unbelievable, Robbie. Here we are, living in and working in history, about to take John Giovanni's good in this legendary battle that made it in writing and manifesting the dimension merges on the division of the 2 Earth halves." Roberta takes another sip of her hot coffee. "All right, but Sarah, as we are guests in the future here, we absolutely must not kill anyone. Even the enemies we fight that we ultimately only wear down into submission while leaving them alive." "Yep, I've got False Swipe memorized and ready to go." "As do I." Here, here! Dr. Wolf in his medic attire and gear approaches Roberta and Sarah. Sarah goes in. Sarah sees him. Oh, hey, Doc. Such a surprise yet lack of to see you here taking part as well. Ah, good morning to you, Roberta and Sarah, Dr. Wolf responds. Yes. These past repeated extensive stretches of the 26th and 27th in the Psychic Squadron base's apartment, what everyone has been trying. But we have made great progress taking Mrs. Chandler Prime's jail situation and details under consideration. We have written and planned out her immediate and post-haste legal relocation from the jail to the good and safe apartment not far from her house and home. I'm going to have to take a sip of that tumble. Not far away. Well, it's a drive-by, I suppose. It's close enough. It's close enough. So I'm still grateful. You have to love my premonitions, though. Roberta sighs relief and tells Dr. Wolf, I, for one, am relieved to hear that. And I am certain Christine herself is relieved, grateful, and counting of that blessing as well. Indubitably, Dr. Wolf responds. I sound like Receptor. Indubitably so. It's good to hear. Good to better. Indubitably so. Then Obab Scribbler, you're going to love this surprise, Scribbler. You're going to love this. Just appreciate this. And Obab Scribbler approaches the three of them. Good morning, you all. Good morning, all. Dr. Wolf turns and responds, Oh, Scribbler, good morning to you as well. I had imagined you would be staying at the apartment. No, Doctor, she responds. I too wish to play it for aggressive part in this. I am mused, though, since some, but not all of your lovely group is present, of which class I thought to be in. Eh, what? Oh, Doctor responds. That is good of you. Fortunately, we have a decent number of healers within the ranks here, including myself. Pray tell, what class did you choose? Something appropriate, Scribbler responds as she puts on her fireproof uniform, affixes her tag, and holds up the attached weapon without firing it. Eat your heart out, Eliora. Scribbler has taken your position. Sorry, Ellie. I think Scribbler could do it just as good, if not better. Yes. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Doc, Sarah, and Roberta expressed shocked expressions. I felt Pyro was well and good as the theme of all this. In part is to vaporize, vanquish, and turn to ash every single toxic, evil, darkest sinning individual. Of that 12-18 half of Earth, of course. She stows the weapon in its holster. Well, frankly, Miss Scribbler, I never expected this of you, Doc says to her. Well, my good doctor, when it comes to us metaphysicals, we are to expect the unexpected as anything is possible, after all. Well, I'm off for a spot of hot tea before the fight begins. Cheers! I did not initially expect that as well, and yet I am not surprised either. Seriously, I wrote that and I still feel that way. Think about that for a little while. Anyway. At one point during this morning, Flameverse Sonichu made another reference, if you like. Flameverse Sonichu made a strawberry banana milkshake at the Psychic Tower. He burnt my shake! Well, don't be looking at me like you never wanted service like that. In our TF2 analysis arcade reference, but that strawberry banana milkshake was made. After filling his tall glass with the milkshake and adding the whipped cream and cherry on top and putting a straw in it, he gets a blip from Cal Sonichu asking him to bring a copy of one of the Preceptor's latest Sudoku magazines for a Sudoku fan in the crowd. He finds one and takes it while still holding his milkshake. Then he teleports to the North group, hands Cal the magazine. Then as Flavor starts to drink his cooked milkshake, he finds it burnt. He still drinks it. It just wasn't as good as he liked. Well, he's fire type, so it burned in transition. Anyway. Skies over Israel, 8:20 a.m. Holy Sky Zone, Act 2. Checking the time. Okay. As Chris, SNT, and Crystalia fly on after downing Scratch Jet and looking ahead, they see whipping sand tornadoes aplenty. Crystalia pulls out 3 pairs of safety goggles and gives one to Chris and one to SNT. They put them on. I wonder what made these sandstorms suddenly start, S&T comments, then reconsiders. Wait a minute. It doesn't matter. You have to get the Chaos Crystal Ball, S&T says, and observes the glow of the green Chaos Crystal Ball for a short moment. Right, Chris says. Let's avoid the tornadoes as best as we can and fly onward. They fly onward. Now, the sky's taking on a sandy shade with the storm in progress. Chris sees something beyond sky high in the distance, a very bright shining star. Intuition and Green Chaos Crystal Ball agreed to use that star for guidance. The 3 of them fly on, weaving away from the tornadoes and around. The bots and jets still flew and needed to be countered on the way with their thunderbolts and all. Some of the bots and jets got caught within the tornadoes. It took a whole lot of trying just to get around them and avoiding the randomly tossed magnets thrown by the tornadoes, and to get to that star in sight. After minutes of plenty traversing through it all, they found clear sky and looking down to see Helen, Christine, Dupy, and Mashik approaching the scene and location of the original major body inn. And then, transition is just going to go back to the earlier point in a little while, maybe. End of Holy Sky Zone Act 2, right? Guess. Star. But we transition back to Virginia, and between the Team Rocket base and Quickville, 5:20 a.m. On the road, starting from the base of Team Rocket, is a convoy of armored trucks, missile carriers, towing mechs, tanks, and the like, occupied by teams of numerous grunts, a number of Team Rocket leaders, their weapons on their backs, and occupied Pokeballs on their belts. A special loaded missile filled with ready Ultra Balls to be launched out of it is carted on a single missile carrier. Natsirk and Giovanni ride in on a heavy-duty truck a distance from the front. Natsirk had mixed feelings and doubts of this onslaught considering the past attempts on the city of Quickville. Even his medallion chakra point was mildly paining him off and on during this ordeal so far. Black Sonichu was given the go-ahead to dash to a hidden-from-view area not far from the north city limits, but to wait for the strike before taking on Sonichu Prime. This is get some good details and growth here anyway. Blake took the time to, from the distance, locate Bubbles' Roadshoe. So he didn't just go to that one spot he was meant to go to. He just went ahead and he did not see her at the North Point or Northwest Point. They saw her at West Point at about 5:40 a.m., talking with Princess Sally Acorn with Wild Angelica, Punchy, and the others near her. He was relieved to know she was not at the North Point where he knew Giovanni was personally striking. They saw Bubbles talking with an orange-eyed male Sonichu. Yeah, he was in the background when he introduced himself. Then he saw Bubbles talking with an orange-eyed male Sonichu that had her fur color and wave patterns. Who's that guy? He asked himself. He focuses his binoculars on the Sonichu and feels with himself something familiar that resonated from him. Blake sees Bubbles shock and freaking out while she talked with him. Obviously, he could not hear the dialogue. He also saw her calming herself and smiling with joy at him. Isn't that nice? Isn't this nice? Blake remembered Sarah Roche's words. No, sir. In fact, just yesterday, I, Dad, Bob, Roberta, and Christine talked with you, Bubbles, and Donnie. Blake thinks, right, she talked with I and Bubbles, but who's Donnie? Then he remembers Sarah telling him, but let me confirm something for you, Blake Sonichu. We know your heart is coming on the right place and direction. Do not stay in the darkness. You know deep inside what is right and good. Blake takes a deep breath. In that instant from the sight, Donnie Sonichu saw the glint of Blake's binoculars from the distance. He remembers Blake, his father, told him once after he caught Donnie reading his journal. Because back in the future time, after Donnie was born, before going back to 2006 or 2022, Donnie took a look at Blake's journal. Son, if there comes a time you do see me from within that crowd that day, step to behind a Jugga's church. That's all I ask for that moment. So essentially, it's kind of like continuity, like as if it actually happened to Blake, and he knew it. So you gotta love this whole timeline detail. Anyway, Donnie is affirmed. He tells Bubbles, "I gotta use the restroom, Mom. I'll be right back." "Okay, my handsome son," Bubbles responds with joy. Donnie walks into the direction towards Angelica's church. Blake 2006 Blake makes his choice. I'll ask you personally. Donnie runs to Angelica's church back after exiting the crowd. Blake takes the intuition and dashes to behind Angelica's church. Blake approaches Donnie in the back door's light. They share a moment of silence as Blake looks Donnie over and Donnie recalls what he read in that page of Blake's journal. Oh yes, he literally did write about all this in this journal. Blake Sonichu did. You know, a journal. Anyway, Blake asks Donnie, "Who are you?" But Donnie replies with respect, "Donatello Sonichu, Blake, sir. My friends call me Donnie." "What's your story, kid?" "Sir, I am from the year 2022, and I am your son." Blake gasps, and his eyes widen as he recalls and pieces it together for himself. Blake looks into Donnie's orange eyes. And obviously he already has his questions in mind. Of all the names I ever called Liquid Chris, Blake starts, which was the one I least ever used outside of missions and battles? Donnie replies, "Stonefield, sir." And I called him only that once because his favorite comic is Garfield, and he complained about Mondays after a weekend of the worst training, sir. And which statistic did the grunts work him over on that weekend in focus? Trick question, because they focus on all of his stacks at once, sir. Well, that shows to me you're not a mind reader, but that detail had been. Blake first grabs Donnie in a chokehold. Yeah, so it's like I'm gonna just be like, well, that shows to me you're not a mind reader, but that detail had been. Blake fast grabs Donnie in a chokehold attempt, but Donnie reached from behind before the chokehold could be administered, and they fought for 3 minutes in trained combat. So yeah, Blake had trained Donnie in the future. Then when Donnie held both Blake's hands behind him, he told Blake, "You are not alone, just like that bracelet she gave you in 2004 December, sir." Blake's eyes widened yet again, and he stopped the combat routine. Donnie released him. Blake gasps, then catches his breath. One last question, son. Blake takes a deep breath before asking, "Is Bubbles Roadshoe your mother?" Donnie answers, "Yes, sir. As she had told me about today, as have you over a decade from now, sir." Blake looks up in a very rare instance for him, silently thanking the gods for this recourse and enlightening guidance. Blake then turns to his future son. "Never tell anyone how I prayed with tears of joy in my eyes." "I promise, Dad, sir." Blake nods, then puts his right arm around Donnie, looks him in the eyes, and tells him wisely, "Protect Bubbles, your mom, with everything this day, son. I will not ask further or for more details about it. I will let the events play out as they will." Donatello Sonichu. Blake pats Donnie's left shoulder firm. "Yes, sir." "Thank you." Blake removes his hand and starts walking to the north area of Quickville. And but it's kind of like a speed walking. Yeah, he's gonna like run back to the point where he was meant to be. Anyway, Donnie smiles for having the honor of making this event come full circle. He returns to Bubbles Roadshoe and the West team. After confirming his distance from the church and his son, Blake dashes back to his earlier position by the north city limits of Quickville. Back to Israel, 8:20 a.m. Holy Sands Zone, Act 2. Actually, I might want some water first right quick. Give me a moment. Okay. Please. Okay. Christine, Helen, Dupy, and Bashik dash through the sandstorm. Christine too looked and saw the guiding star. They dodged quicksands and tornado bases while holding their footing on the ground. They were hardly any bots to counter as they either were within the tornadoes or underground. The bots were. Trails of rings also helped in traversing this maze. While not pitch black or dark, you know what, I'm just going to let that slide. This felt like one of the light required levels from a Crash Bandicoot game. You know, blind in the dark, you need to activate that light along the way. I did play Crash Bandicoot. Excuse me. It took them minutes of traversing and using the cosmic shining star as their guiding light. They make it out and end up in a clear sky area within Bethlehem. And just less than a mile away was the manger's location with the clear chaos crystal ball in view within a basket in there. The ladies cheered as they ran to it with Chris, Crystalline, and SNT literally flying above as it is in the Holy Sky Zone Act 2. So yeah, there you go. Okay, here you go. Then a sound of a sonic boom was heard from above, from ahead of them, and a large blue jet crashes through the major and sweeping up the chaos crystal ball into its cockpit. Everyone stood and flew in place as the jet soared up in front of Chris, Crystalline, and SNT. The three of them landed by Helen, Christy, Dupy, and Mashik. They looked as the jet returned and hovered above the ground in front of them. The jet was blue with a silver head and yellow headlight streaks on it. The cockpit opened to reveal none other than Eggman, now holding a clear chaos crystal ball and put it into his console on the jet's controls within a special divot. Dupy has a major deja vu moment. Deja vu. Recalling that dream with Dalton in Eggman's clutches. Eggman laughs and gloats. Dupy's anger gets stronger. Then on impulse, she jumps high and forward. Ah! Christy calls out, Dupy, no! But Dupy channeled her inner struggles and made it on board as the cockpit closed, and Dupy stomped on Eggman's head. She locates the Chaos Crystal Ball and grabs it to yank it right out. She screams as the lightning and energies within the Chaos Crystal Ball flow right through her. Outside, the support jetbots hover around the larger jet. Christine and the group are concerned over Danielle. Then, she yanks that Chaos Crystal Ball out of the control console. It glows in her hand as she is launched through the glass of the cockpit's door and flying above the group in a still location with the Chaos Crystal Ball in her right hand firmly. One of Eggman's jets shoots a stray bullet upward, and it flies. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Danielle. It flies through her abdomen. Everyone is shot. Helen teleports herself under Dupy and catches her as she falls. Helen telepathically tells Christy and the group, I'll teleport her to my house. I'll do my best to heal her. Chris shouts, Thank you! Dupy! Helen teleports herself and Dupy back home. Helen calls for the Psychic Squadron for support as she starts works on Dupy's healing. You do survive, Danielle. I'll go ahead and tell you that. You do survive. Dupy lying on the sofa. Anyway. Eggman yells as the treasure he sought was stolen from him. Chris breathes with emotions and upset. Crystalline, SNT, Christine, and Mashik show concern over Chris in this moment. Chris finds an inner struggle within that dark red Chris chants Sonichu that Chris defends himself and fights to not give into darkness and despair. He's really fighting it so hard. Once again, he overpowers the darkness and shines with light power righteousness. Chris, are you okay? S&T asks him. Chris Sonichu comes to with holy fire in his eyes and rainbow greatly shining in his aura. In haste, Eggman starts to position his drill jet to drill Chris Chan under. After another loop-de-loop, the jet spins fast like a drill. As it comes closer, faster than light, Chris Chan mega evolves into something beyond a super bone. And again, that's just only done with the one chaos crystal ball, but still, I mean, with Christian, Sonichu, let's see when I summon happy and a demigod, so there's a little bit extra power, and heck, there's a lot of extra power in there, so you have to. Boy, it's just. Christian Mega Evolves into something beyond a super bonus. The emotions are really in there, so maybe think of that dark powered up Sonic from Sonic X in combination as this as well, but just which is still as grounded as possible and carry anyway. And with his right hand held out, he jumps to intercept and catches the jet by the tip, pretty much stopping it in place, crushing the tip in his one right hand. It's pretty much time was paused. But yeah, time resumes. The jet is stopped in midair, upside down. Eggman falls out through the crack in the cockpit door, and he crashes onto the sand below him. But you're gonna love this one. I mean, if you love action, it's just wow, you're really gonna love this part. Chris performs a very difficult, nearly impossible task. He dashes in an instant from the front of the jet and through the butt, taking the tip with him, turning the massive jet literally inside out. Then he kicks the jet into outer space. That thing flies beyond Cybertron's orbit. It's just like. The sight was unreal to everyone but Kristalina and Mashik. If I had not foreseen it, I would never have believed it, Kristalina said aloud. Okay, Chris teleports down to in front of Eggman as he yanks himself out of the sand. Eggman looks up to see the rainbow aura, blue flame-eyed, beyond super phone with battery-charged blue fur, lightning sparking off the fur, Chris Chan's Sonichu. Eggman recognizes his form from something similar that happened with Sonic. Sonic and Supersonic. Anyway, Eggman knew that what he had to do at this point. He turned tail, hopped on one of the jet bots, and flew back to his Wing Fortress egg base. He chickened out. He had to. Chris suddenly powered down, and he fainted. Yeah. SNT ran and caught him. He was breathing, but was unconscious. You know, it was a real one-time thing, a serious, epic one-time thing. But she teleported them back to Helena's. I've said that wrong. Maybe a little bit of a nod to Helena right there, you know, Pikachu and all that, just because I said that. But she teleported them back to Helen's house, placing Chris on another sofa there. Dupy still holds the clear chaos crystal ball in her right hand. Rank, end of Holy Sand Zone, Act 2. Rank guess. Shepherd. Oh boy, how many more pages is that? Oh well. Okay, well here's a bit of a different scene for you, so just take this as you will. Danielle Doopie Doover's house and home, mid-afternoon. Danielle finds herself on the sofa in her and Dalton's living room in their house in California. She looks around to find all the familiar fixtures, appliances, pictures, and objects exactly the way they were before she had left on December 9th, 2022. She also notices a single neo-spiritual Christianity crucifix on one wall. Wow, I'm back home. Was that trip back to 2006 just a dream after all? Dalton enters the living room with a fresh mug of hot cocoa he made for himself. Danielle, he exclaimed. I've wondered how long you were gonna nap for. Dalton? Hey, Danielle responds with a mild, confused feeling. You've been asleep since 9 o'clock last night. I didn't want to disturb you, but you looked like you were having a peaceful dream. Danielle suddenly hears the sounds of the mantra track she had been listening to from her Commodore Neo phone. She looks around for the source and finds a hi-fi stereo system in the room, guessingly the source, but the hi-fi was playing Deck the Halls with Bells of Holly, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Was that stereo there before? Danielle asks herself. Dalton sits by her on the sofa and embraces her with a firm, loving hug. Danielle returns the hug and jokes, Dalton, You know, if you want to have sex, you'd have to wait until when I was in the right mood. Dalton backs from the hug, looks at her in the eyes, and tells her, who cares about sex? Our friends are gonna be here in a little while for our holiday get together, and I want to share good times with them and singing carols. Danielle questions, carols? She giggles. Dalton, since when do you sing? Dupy also thinks that since when he was. Dupy also thinks, and since when he never cared about sex? Let me rephrase that because there was a capital N there. And since when has he never cared about sex? Oh, sweetie, you know I've been practicing my baritone. He starts to say, happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, happy birthday, almighty Dalton, happy birthday to me. Wow, Daniel responds, I never heard you sing that song so cheerful. Well, Danielle, I've realized so why if my birthday is once every 4 years, every day is still an unbirthday, and I get more of these between birthdays than most. Well, that's true. I'm also looking forward to having the family over again. What? But Dalton, we both hate our parents. What's going on? Oh, nothing, sweet. I'm just reveling in the holiday and life itself. Yeah, I mean, Dalton, if you're watching and listening to this, I I felt that there was just something really, really strange going on here, and even Danielle knew it at that point. Anyway, or maybe this might have been Danielle's wishful thinking at one point. I don't know. I can't say it's a possibility. Anyway, Danielle gets up off the sofa and takes a few steps from it. Danielle becomes suspicious. She looks at him with a concerned frown. Okay, Dalton, something is up. This is not you. You haven't even made a verbal flirt or abuse upon me at all yet. Yes, I did listen to her commentary even during the Lazy Cast podcast. I still remember, when Hellbeck came on, there was the outtake with the little the mention of me and Dr. Pepper. Yeah. So I did listen to all that. Anyway, she thinks, and that's a bad thing? Dalton extends his hands with open palms facing upward. Well, that was the old Dalton. This is the new Dalton who from now on is more caring, compassionate, and optimistic. Optimistic? Danielle asks. Then the doorbell rings. Oh, Dalton says. They're here. He goes to answer the door. Danielle follows with a cringe expression on her face. Dalton opens the door. B! He welcomes. B says, Hey, Dalton. Hi, Danielle. Look at who we found pulling in at the same time as us. Mom, Dad, how are you both? Danielle looks in astonishment as the mom and dad in question were the do-over parents. Danielle's mom greets Dalton happily as Dalton also compliments her. Danielle becomes further confused. Then her mom hugs her with the, Oh, Danielle! Merry Christmas! Danielle lightly hugs her and says, yeah, you too. She breaks away from the hug. Dalton, she tells him, I gotta get some weed. I'm feeling weirded out. Weed, Dalton asks. Weed, Dalton asks. That makes her eyes wide open. Since when have you really needed that stuff to cope? Even I think the best in life is appreciated without Daniel turns and shouts, Okay, this has gone too far. Dalton, you know I have anxiety problems and you've sampled it yourself. What the fier is wrong with you? You and my parents never get along. This is too good to be true. Dalton calmly with concern tells her, Sweetie, you're overreacting. Since when is a little slice of the sound life been never wrong? Danielle is aghast and falls back against the wall as her mom and dad give her concerned words and looks. Danielle sees a white bright glow to her right and finds the clear chaos crystal ball. She gasps and remembers the guidance from her earlier dream as crucifixes litter the entire floor. Numbers stream in matrix style, and the wall clock with no arms starts to melt. With determination, Danielle picks up the chaos crystal ball with her right hand, stands and tells her family, "Now I see. The veil is burned from my eyes. This is not real." She holds the chaos crystal ball and shouts, "Chaos control!" Then with a bright white flash filling the area, Danielle wakes up on a sofa in Helen Roche's house. She finds the brightly glowing clear chaos crystal ball in her right hand. Then she looks down her body to find bandages over her belly. Oh yeah, Jerusalem, Israel, 11 o'clock a.m., Tuesday, February 28, 2006, at that point when she woke up. While Mashik and Kristalina were making lunch in the kitchen, Helen and Christine were talking about the prophecy details that had come to fruition by 2022. Danielle grows as she tries to sit up. Christine hears her, tells her, "Dupy, you're awake." "Oh, don't strain yourself. Helen used her water bending to cleanse and heal you with little holy water." Helen affirms the truth. Let me sure. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, she sells it. "After you got the chaos crystal ball from Eggman, one of his robots shot you. The damage to your abdomen was great. The chaos power and holy light spared you from the worst. And had that bullet hit you just a bit to the right, it would have ruptured your kidney. Thank God, Christ Chen, I was fully able to heal the wounds. But I had to use the holy water." She points to the 3/4 full clear glass bottle with a gold crucifix on it on the nearby drawer table. Kristalina, in her human form, enters the living room with a hot bowl of vegetable and beef soup on a plate with a spoon in the bowl. Mashik follows her. They both see and smile at Dupy being awake. "Welcome back," Kristalina tells Dupy, then walks to her. Dupy is able to sit up and accept the hot soup. Dupy smiles and tells Kristalina, "Thanks, Crystal." She shifts her attention to the others. "And thank you, Helen, Christina, Mashik, for saving me. I had this very weird dream. I was back at home in 2022, yet it felt like another world. Dalton was being super nice and not himself at all. I saw through the lies and used chaos control to get out." She glances to right to find the glowing chaos crystal ball on the sofa cushion. As she enjoys a spoonful of the yummy soup, she glances around, swallows the soup, then asks Lays, "Hey, where's Chris?" But she told her, "After you were shot and Helen teleported you here, Chris was triggered and had to fight this inner darkness. He succeeded. Eggman was set to drop his big jet on us when Chris suddenly came to, but beyond super. He intercepted the incoming jet with one hand. Eggman fell down through the broken cockpit door. Chris turned the entire jet inside out, then kicked into outer space. One look at the divine judgment and holy rainbow aura of Chris and Eggman fled. Chris fainted into unconsciousness. Machine points to the other sofa with Christian in his Sonichu form laying on it, covered with a blanket and breathing well. He became very upset as you were hit, Danielle." Dupy gasped in wonder. Christine added, "He was like divine retribution and judgment executed in your honor." Dupy looks at the resting Chris in concern and appreciation. Dupy set her bowl of soup on the nearby coffee table, got up and walked to Chris, gently putting her hand on his forehead, the other against her chest, and cried for a moment. During that, she had a vision of visiting the site of the cross in Jesus' tomb, then finding an inkling of enlightenment. She quietly whispered, "Thank you, Chris Chan," into Chris's ear. Then she returned to her sofa and resumed eating her soup. SNT finally entered after getting the sand out of her ears and welcomed Doopie back and entered the conversation. Okay, yeah. Meanwhile, here you go. Meanwhile, at 14 Brashlight Court in Ruckersville, Virginia, mid-afternoon, a summer day in 2006, 12:18 Earth half. Christian in his human form wakes up and sits up in his bed of my old bedroom and shouts, "Eggman Robotnik! Why did your robot have to shoot Danielle?" Huh? He looks around and realizes where he was. Huh? I'm back at home? He takes a look out the window at the bedroom and sees the neighborhood in Ruckersville. The fact he was not in Quickville is evident as he looks into the left and sees the houses along Westwood Drive as opposed to Westland Road. Back in Quickville, it's called Westland Road there. The houses on that road were very different from here. Why am I back in Ruckersville? Then my past self, from that date, enters the bedroom with a 3-ring binder containing the pages of Sonichu number 5 in progress. The two Christians, we look at each other in surprise. Yeah. Yeah, seconds. Yeah. I put paper clippings on these to tape them up and learn. I never have to use up this picture. Okay, I'm gonna force it right now. Yeah. Okay. My past self lets Chris over, recognizes Sonichu but died on him, then asks him, "Who are you?" Chris responds, "Well, I'm Christian Weston Shower Sonichu of Quickville, Virginia." My past self takes a moment to piece it together from comparing the Chris Chan in front of him with the one he drew in the book pages. He tosses the binder onto the love seat / sofa, heads to the nearby bathroom to look at himself in the mirror. Chris follows and looks at himself in the same mirror. The two compare their faces and confirm an exact match down to the blue and green eyes. Blue, green. The differences being different shirts. Past me was wearing glasses, at least at the time. And versus the, well, here's another detail I'll give you about seeing when I saw Chris. So, yeah, he had glasses, but they were more optional with him, so he didn't need glasses all the time. So he was not wearing glasses during that time. I mean, especially when he goes on adventure. Do you really think he'd be wearing glasses on those adventures? I mean, I wouldn't think so. Anyway, glasses. So yeah, just the difference between glasses and clothes. Anyway, I gotta find my place again. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, I'm just gonna start this again from here. Past me was wearing glasses and versus the Model Magic handcrafted Sonichu medallion. Chris's medallion looked and was stone crafted. Past me said to Chris, "You're to me for my comic books." Chris responds, "Well, to put it that way, yes." Past me gets a thought and takes 2 steps into the bathroom away from Chris and asks him, "Listen, please show me your Sonichu form, Chris." Chris muses and says, "Okay." Chris puts a hand across over his Sonichu medallion and says, "Electric Hedgehog Power!" And then the flash of light transforms into a Sonichu form. Past me was wild-eyed. Amazing! Past me looks over Chris fully at the fur and color, details, quills, ears, tails, face, height difference, of course, between being about 5'11" and 3'5" to the top of the head, not counting the 7-inch long ears. Anyway, ears, tail, face. Chris's top of head standing up to under past me's chest. Yeah, that's about right. And I actually measured and compared. I had like a meter stick. Anyway, then my dad, Robert Franklin Chandler Jr., had come up, saw Chris Chan Sonichu's quills and tail out the bathroom door, and took a closer view to see past me and Chris talking with each other. Here you go. I'm going to actually pull this here. Mr. C.S. "Well, what's going on here?" Past me explained, "Well, Dad, this is me, literally from the Sonichu comics, and yeah, he can transform into the Sonichu form." Chris nods. Mr. C is amazed as he now looks Chris over. Chris comments, "Wow, I wonder if I ought to call you Dad, Robert, or Mr. C." Kind of still puzzled, Mr. C tells Chris, "Call me Mr. C." "Okay, sir," Chris responds as he places a hand on his medallion mark and transforms back to his human form. Wow. Twins," Mr. C says aloud. Over time, Chris is shown to Barbara as well, and back in their bedroom, the two discuss more. Chris tells past me of the similarities between their lives. Then glad it slipped that he, past me, was Jesus Christ reincarnated, so I ended up getting a bit of that knowledge I had at that time at that point. Followed by laying out the details from the HUM prophecies or rather ancient prophecies, but obviously the pun, ancient, anyway, and the similarities between Jesus' life and my life up till 2006. Past me was astounded. I've often wondered why I had this viewing perspective I could never explain. And I did have thoughts before that link up with this and naming me also as, what was that word again? Avatar. This explains a lot. And Sonichu, Rosie, Badger Chan, and everyone at Quickville, they all are real and alive too. And a lot of your writings and drawings add to our and your prophecy. Chris said. Then my past self said, so what I write, think, draw, it does exist and happen? And Chris replies, at one point or another, or similar, and past me responds, oh, man, oh, my gosh. I want to go to Quickville and activate my medallion's powers! How do I draw myself to physically, personally, get to Quickville? Then Chris responds, I can't say, Christian, for that in the right moment, time, and circumstance shall literally be revealed to you through innate moments, visions, and dreams. My past self says. Okay, and then back at Helen's house at 11:10 a.m., Dupy had just finished eating her soup. Mashik and Crystalina made sandwiches for themselves, Christine, Helen, and SNT. Mashik had brought them in, and they ate the sandwiches and drank tea. Dupy got tea as well. While Dupy ate her soup, Dupy had tucked the clear chaos crystal ball into her magic satchel for safekeeping. They had been talking about the recent adventure and light topics. Dupy inquired after remembering, oh, the major by the inn. Oh, wait. Dupy inquired after remembering, so Crystalina says this. Oh, the major by the inn. Eggman destroyed it. You need not fret. Bashik used her psychic powers to revert the major as it was before Eggman had destroyed it. It's restored. Oh, cool, Dupy responded, but she tells the group, well, we can return to Quickville until we can't return to Quickville until after Chris awakens. For in a latter part, he will use the chaos crystal balls to alleviate the worst chaos of the dimension merge. SNT responds, so that means you have to stay here for a while longer? Mashik responds, Krista and I foresee Chris waking up by the end of the day, but we do not know the specific hour. SNT asks, is there a chance he might be out for longer than that? Mashik responds firmly, not in this timeline, SNT. Alright, cool. SNT responds. Dupy makes a suggestion. Since we'll be here a while, I'd like to visit Jesus' cross and tomb. I have an intuition to do this. Helen responds, oh, I can help with that. I would delight in escorting you to the cross and tomb, and I would certainly be happy to give you a tour of the holy relics we have in our museum. That's a good idea, Dupy responds. SNT raises a hand. I'd like to see the relics, cross, and tomb too, please. Certainly, Helen responds. Crystalina says after checking with Christine and Mashik, Christine, and I, we will stay here and mind Chris. And Helen, if anything bad arises, Helen responds, I shall teleport Dupy, SNT, and I back here post-haste should anything come up. But I do not foresee the need. Well, all right, SNT says. Let's go check out the relics. Dupy and SNT follow Helen to the neighboring museum. They exit the house's front door. SNT and Dupy noticed something had bloomed around Helen's house and the museum. Wow, SNT says. Aren't those sap buds? Dupy leans down to touch one and gets shot with a zap of electricity from the flower. Fully charged, I say, Dupy says. Helen informs him, these flowers do not normally glow in Israel. This is a miracle. Thank you, God Christ Champ Prime, for this blessing. In appreciation that Dupy and SNT witnessed with wonder and awe, a holy light beams down only on Helen Rosechew, and in the sand in front of her, in my handwriting, is this. You're very welcome, Helen. Helen, Dupy, and SNT see the message in the sand. Helen smiles and continues to lead Dupy and SNT into the museum. The museum is a large The museum is as large and wide as the north wing at the center of Charlottesville, Virginia's Fashion Square Mall, counting the stores and Sears space. Present tense, the Sears space. Actually happened recently, and there's a Home Depot. I think this expression says enough. I don't need to express. At least the Falcon stuff. It's the rest of them all just. In the museum are various relics and carvings from broken stones and related artifacts pertaining to the history from the Holy Bible and the Torah and related prophecies. There are also portrait-sized photographs of various stones and cave carvings with descriptions from the archaeologists and chroniclers of the millennia past. There's also a library with various books on and with expanded details of the prophecies and carvings in the museum. S&T made an observational comment while looking at these carving portions and photos.
I had seen some similar carvings on Angel Island where the Master Emerald is.
Helen informs to.
Yes. The Mayan carvings and the carvings of past and ancient tribes of Echidnas, Sonichus, Roshus, and so on. In fact, S&T, in regard to that Master Emerald, there are 7 other Master Emeralds.
S&T counts.
8 Master Emeralds?
Yes. Why, just north of Africa in 1949 BC and prior, there is a massive shrine to the one ultimate emerald, rainbow in colors, surrounded by the 8 Master Emeralds. In 1949 BC, the ultimate emerald, more powerful than all 8 Master Emeralds, had become overwhelmed with divine commands and defense on Earth. It shattered apart, becoming the 8 Chaos Emeralds. All that was left of the ultimate emerald was its emerald-shaped core, now believed to have been implanted into the body of the avatar of all existence, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and into his present reincarnated body, Christ chants Sonichu Prime herself.
Go Transformers! Transformers, go! Transformers, more than meets the eye. Go Transformers!